Let's go.
Dr. Rosie Milligan, one of the most sought-after speakers on the circuit today. Her live internet talk show, Express Yourself, is the most provocative, thought-provoking, and talked-about radio show on the internet. There's no holds barred, and Dr. Milligan puts the B in bold. She brings it every Tuesday live at 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Dr. Rosie has been proclaimed the most provocative female writer of the century. Her books include Satisfying the Black Man and Black Woman Sexually Made Simple, Why Black Men Choose White Women, and the book Nigga Please. These books have raised eyebrows across the country. She has authored 21 books and published 350 titles for authors nationwide. Check Dr. Rosie out at drrosie.com for her books, articles, and archives of her internet talk show. Sit at the feet of wisdom. Dr. Milligan is indeed a timekeeper and scorekeeper. She is the clock, calendar, and almanac for Black America. You need to hear her.
Top of the morning. It's raining California. And you're listening to the Express Yourself Hour. I am your host, Dr. Rosie Milligan, coming to you always as we do, live with nothing but straight talk. My co-hosts are the wonderful Mr. Keith Swanson. He's a radio personality within his own right. He's still invisible. And I know he's not coming out in the rain. It's raining here in Southern California. But one of these days, you're going to get to see Mr. Keith Swanson. I promise you. Now, you guys know I never do a promise that I cannot fulfill. Now, I didn't say when, but I said one day I will. My other co-host is the Valley Girl. You guys know who she is. That's Miss Shawana Bordenay. She's a real estate guru, you guys. She does everything that has to do with real estate. She sells, she buys, so any question you have about real estate, whether it's time to buy, time to sell, time to hold, time to fold, you want to contact this real estate guru. In fact, usually I give her number out later, but I'm going to start right up front. Shawana, give them your telephone number.
Thank you, Dr. Rosie, for that great introduction. 818-201-6565. That's 818-201-6565.
And you want to talk to her, even, you may not be ready yet. You may think you're not ready. So let her tell you whether you're ready or not. At least you should start looking and having an interest in a home way before you make that purchase. At least you'll know what neighborhood you want based on what the prices are. So don't forget to give Shawana a call. Shawana, give that number out one more time.
Okay, I'll give it one more time. And I also want to put out there, I know a lot of people, some people put their payments aside. If you have any issues with that, give me a call as well. During the pandemic, they set aside their payments, hoping that the banks would work with them. And if they are not, please call me. I can help you. My number is 818-201-6565. 818-201-6565. And, of course, we can help with the probates as well. Dr. Rosie can help you with that. Dr. Rosie, you want to give your number?
323-750-3592. That's 323-750-3592. Folks, it's all about keeping what you have and getting some more. That's what we're talking about. In fact,
that's what we're talking about.
That falls right in with our topic today. So, folks, we have a great show for you today. We're going to talk about preparation for departing this life. And we're going to also talk about some burial assistance plan. It's interesting. This is the topic. It's not a favorite topic, but it should be. It should be on the top burner, not on the back burner, because death does not give you a warning. It does not wait on you to get ready or to get prepared. And with all this stuff that has happened in the world in the last, COVID has been around almost 2 years, huh?
Yeah.
People need to do some serious thinking. We really need to think about leaving a legacy for our family, leaving your wife okay, leaving your children okay, leaving your husband okay. Folks, that should be at a priority on your list. So don't let death frighten you. Don't be afraid. It doesn't mean that you're not going to stay here longer because you are afraid to make decisions. So it just makes sense now. I think more people realize that they need to do this. So we're just going to give you some pointers and talk about some estate planning, talk about preparation for departing this life. Now, number one, I know many of you heard about will and many of you heard about a living trust. That's all called personal estate planning. So your estate is all of your assets. That means everything you own at the time of your death. Everything that you own at the time of your death. Now, it is important that you effectively start gathering up all of the documents and information that pertain to your assets. You know, Shawana, I ask people sometimes when I'm preparing their trust, where do you bank? I don't want their banking information. I don't want their account number, any of that. I just list where their financials are as a matter of records in their trust. So the people they leave behind, if you know Mama have account at Bank of America, all you need to go there, any Bank of America with the death certificate or your trust. They can locate every account that you have there. Millions of dollars goes unclaimed, and the money goes to the state every year because somebody didn't know. Mama had an account, sister had an account, dad had an account, because it's just things that we tend not to talk about it, and I'm trying to figure out why we don't talk about these things. You know, you have people saying when a parent died or a child, I don't know if they had insurance or not. Did they have any burial paid for? Folks, this should not be the kind of conversation that we're having today, especially in spite of what we are going through here with COVID, all the mass murders, killing. I mean, come on. Where can your mind be? Folks, this needs to be a dining room or a living room or a den. This needs to be a conversation in your house. They need to know. So you gather up all your stuff, everything pertaining to your finance. You have stock. You have bonds. You have savings accounts. You have real estate. Whatever you own. You may have coins, collectible coins, whatever you have.
Insurance policies.
Insurance policies. Yes. You need to know. You know, people know so little about their family affairs that there were a person that had long-term care insurance, and they never discussed it with the family, and they only found out that she had that policy when she was on her deathbed in hospice. Then they found the policy. They had been paying somebody to come and assist with their mom because she needed almost like 24/7. Now, Shawana, that's a sad commentary, isn't it?
It is very sad, but we do need to know what our parents have. And we need to let our children know what we have.
Exactly.
Not just what our parents have, but we need to talk about what we have as well, where everything is, what type of policies we have. I remember, I'm telling you, I did not like talking about this, but once COVID happened, like you said, 2 years ago, you know, life changed. Life changed. I mean, I hear people dying all the time and without trust, without anything in place, and they have to go through so much in order to get buried properly because the burial's not done properly, and the kids don't have the money, so sometimes they end up cremating them, and if they would have had everything in order, they wouldn't have had to get cremated. They could have had a proper burial. And so I think that it's very important that we consider all of these things. And sometimes people do want to get cremated, but you go by people's wishes of what they want. Yeah.
But you know, you're right. That is so interesting because people just, I was thinking each time when they was talking about people in the hospital on respirators, nobody could visit them. They could have no contact with their family. And the thing that kept going through my mind is, oh my God, I wonder what are they thinking about if I could only tell somebody, if my sister, my daughter, my husband, can you imagine what was on these people's mind? How many of them wish they could have told somebody something before they left here?
Yes.
But they could not because no visitors were allowed. So, folks, you want to gather up all this stuff. Once some people say, well, I don't have that much to gather up. Once you start thinking and start putting it together, you will be amazed at the asset you have. Sometimes people don't think about the old records they have. You know, they don't think about the jewelry. There are some people that have over $30,000 when they add all that jewelry up together. They just never think about it. You know, they may have a antique, a classic car. That's to be added to your asset. So once you start making a list of what do I own, you will be surprised that you own more than you think that you own. And even if it's just a little bit, you need to decide who you want to have it. You really do. Because people will fight. Well, I used to say it sarcastic. People will fight over tennis shoes, but I can see why they may fight over tennis shoes now, because some of those tennis shoes, Shawana, do you know what some of those tennis shoes cost?
Oh, my gosh, yes, I know. Hey, why is Kanye West worth so much? Yeezy.
So it used to be when we would say,
shoes are worth so much money. I mean, people will jack you for those shoes.
When we would say, oh, people would fight over tennis shoes, we were just making a joke at it, but that's real. That's part of your assets, okay? So you need to gather that up. Now, here's the interesting part about it, because I know a person who collects different tennis shoes. But what goes through my mind, you guys, I think we have Keith on now, right? Is Keith on?
That's me. Can you hear me?
All right. So what I think happened, Keith, that people have all these tennis shoes. They have all these classic cars, old cars, and they never sit down and tell their children. It's same with their jewelry. Their value, same with their artwork. They have no sense of value of what you have. So it's important for you to say, look, child, this is not a $40 pair of tennis. Each one that you should tell them the value and what if they don't want to keep the tennis shoe, what they can sell it for. But do you realize, Keith, most people don't do that?
They never think of it.
They never think of it, folks. So that's why we're talking today, planning your, preparing for the part in this life. Your kids have no idea what that car is worth. No idea what those tennis shoes might be, putting them out on the corner next week. And they could get a lot of money for it. So you want to put all those things together. Everything that you own, you want to list it and put tentative values so your kids will know this is a first print of artwork. This is blah, blah artwork. This is worth money. They don't know unless you tell them. So it's important, Now, one or more of the following things that would determine your priorities. Do you have minor children? Now, to me, it is a shame and a disgrace the way people are leaving their children out in the cold. Now, you birthed a child into the world. You buy them all kind of tennis shoes. Every game that come out, they have an iPhone. But you don't think enough of that child to make sure that child is going to be okay when you close your eyes. Folks, that's something to think about. It really is.
It really is.
Yeah. So you want to consider your minor children. If you own a business, do you want it to continue after that? If so, have you made plans? Have you made plans? Do your children want it? You need to talk to them about it. If something happens to me, would you want to carry this business on? If so, you need to start getting them ready and trained for it. Now, don't just up and die and somebody say, well, you need to get your mama's business and you don't know tit-tat about what I'm doing, then you can't carry that business on. So then you need to have your executive tell them how to wind that business up and sell whatever they can and distribute the money among whom you want it to go to. Now, if you have an aging parent who would need care if you leave before they do. Now think about that. Let's talk about that when you got it. Do people ever think about that? Say you're basically helping Shawan to take care of your mother. Mm-hmm. Even though you're sneaking and doing, your husband don't know. You know how we do.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
I shouldn't let men hear that because, women always have that little secret spot for money.
Oh, yeah. You got to remember, men were actually little boys at one time, and they saw what their mother did.
Oh! She didn't think they were watching
so
her.
They're telling us that they know already.
Okay.
You
we're
remember,
not being sneaky.
remember that old term, don't tell your daddy?
Yeah, don't you tell your daddy, boy.
Okay, Keith, you got a point there. Don't tell your daddy where I'm hiding this money, but if something ever happened to me, go look in this drawer behind in this envelope. Look in my stockings. You right, Keith. Absolutely right. But for real, but on the real side, if you happen to take care of your parent, and you got to think about, wait a minute now. This is something I'm doing. It's okay. My husband, he doesn't mind. He know I love my mom. He loves her too. But you got to think now, if I close my eyes, is my husband going to continue to buy mom medicine or continue to help pay for the in-home support? Folks, these are things that we need to think about.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to make preparation. You may have a life insurance policy, or you may have something that you say, sell this, and I want this money to go toward continue to help my mother. These are real serious issues. Does your spouse know about managing money? Now, that's a big one, right, Keith?
Yeah, it is a big one.
Especially when the man, I had a girlfriend when her husband died, she didn't even know who the mortgage note was paid to. See, some women think that's cute. Girl, I don't have to do nothing, honey. My husband, honey, he's a real man. You hear me? I don't have to do anything. I don't even put gas in my car. And I don't even know what kind of gas go in my car.
Oh, my God.
That's so pretty. You think that's pretty?
Oh, no. Oh, you know what? I was so grateful. I was so grateful that I'm the businesswoman that I am, because if I wasn't, I would have ended up with nothing. Because just like the guy is willing to take care of you while you guys are together, happy times, the minute he doesn't have to take care of you, you'll feel it and you'll be upset that you didn't take care of your business while you guys were together, because you feel like, oh, he's the man, because they totally change. Both the women and men change when you break up, but you have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of your responsibilities, and you can't think that a man should just take care of you. You have to take care of yourself.
And even if they don't change, you should know something. You don't even know how much the mortgage is. You don't know who it's paid to. You don't know who your insurance companies are. I mean, come on. If you think that's pretty and that's being a good wife and that's being, I have such a good husband, that doesn't make sense. Now, I blame the man too, because these are conversations that man and wife should be having, isn't it, Keith?
Yeah, before you even get married, and you should. I always believe you should have a capable wife, even if she doesn't do it. She should be capable. Because there's no telling what position you're going to be in. You could be in an accident, you could be in a coma, and she's got to be able to, pick up the load if you fall down. So, if she doesn't do it, she should be capable.
I agree. So women, don't think it's so cute because I don't know anything, honey. I don't worry about that. But one day you might have to worry about it. Okay. And you be fully taken advantage of because you don't know anything about the business. So that's important. Some people don't even know their wife or husband wishes for their end time. They don't know if the person want to be on life support. They don't know if they want to. They just don't know anything. How can we live with people? Keith, explain this to me. How do we live in a household with people? We know so little about our spouses, about our children, about our mother. It used to didn't be like that. What happened, Keith?
Well, because in this modern world, we have so many distractions. Like, back then, all you had was each other. And you didn't have a whole gang of friends. You weren't in a city with 10 million people with all the distractions. So
you didn't have Facebook, huh?
You didn't have all that stuff. Notice what happened when COVID happened, and men and women had to stay in the house with each other and actually really get to know each other on a daily basis, which they hadn't been doing because they were distracted. A lot of them got divorced, find out, oh, this is a different person than I thought I married.
Absolutely. Let me get the number out. You guys can call, ask questions, or just chat with us at 310-928-7733. That's 310-928-7733. Or you can email us here I used to say, if you're at your job and you don't want anybody to hear you talking, but, well, people at home right now, not a lot of people, they're working from home. So, okay. So you can email us at innerlightradio@yahoo.com. That's INNER, innerlightradio@yahoo.com. So you can email us. We're talking about preparation for departing this life. I know you don't want to talk about it, but I think if you listen to some of these points we're talking about, you will agree that it is a timely conversation, and it is a conversation that you need to sit down and have with your family. Now, here's the real kicker here. If you have a family member who will step in and try to take everything
Oh my goodness. Go ahead, Dr.
everything from your spouse, you need to do some preparation. Folks, I'm talking about some critical issues, If you have children from a prior marriage, now this is a big one, guys. Now this is a mess here. I think we have a call on hold. So if you have children from a prior marriage and you know that they will not cooperate with your spouse, folks, you need to do something, okay? Yes. And you know they're going to start acting up fool, okay? Let's take the caller. Caller, go ahead. Give us your name. Where you calling from?
Dr. Rose's talk show is on right now about children from the previous marriage and what you need to do to make sure you listen. You just call in. That's what I did.
No, that's funny.
Hello, caller.
Can you hear us?
Caller.
Hi.
Caller, can you hear us? Well, bottom line, honey, if you have, children from prior marriage, you better get your house in order. You better make some plans, because it is going to be, as the kids say, on and cracking. I have seen the biggest mess, Well, Daddy told me this, and Daddy told me that, and Daddy said I can have this car. In fact, I've seen them just come over and start taking stuff. I've seen them just come over and start taking stuff, and the wife is grieving. She's mourning, and they're just taking stuff.
I watched it happen not too long ago, probably about 6 months ago. The husband passed away, and they had a big, beautiful home. I mean, huge home, and it was worth a lot of money. And they had a nice business, and the kids worked in his business, in the father's business, and they had beautiful antique cars in the garage. And she called me. She said, well, I think I want to go ahead and sell the property and move to a different location. And the minute she said that, the kids came over and they just started taking over. They sold the property.
Wow.
They got her into another property. They got rid of the cars. They took her name off of the company itself and said, the dad gave us the company. It's ours. And she wrote paperwork saying that they own the company. So she didn't get any more money from the company. The only thing she got was a portion of the sale of the property, which was a nice lump sum of cash. But now she's out on her own, and she was married to this man for like 40 years.
Wow.
And was treated like that. 40 years.
Those weren't her children, were they?
I don't think it was her kids. No, it was his kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
But they were married for 40 years. And
don't mean anything.
The property, and I know it doesn't. So that's what she's saying. You got to take care of make sure that whoever is not part of the family, that they're at least taken care of properly. But I guess you could say she was, because she moved to a beautiful condo somewhere, and but that's it.
Wow.
She don't have any other income coming in. Whatever money she has saved, that's what she lives off of. But she did get millions, but...
It's just a humiliation that she had to go through. You're living with a man
she had more than
40 years. And I'm going to take this call, but you know who I blame? I blame the woman or the man who stay in a relationship with somebody for 40 years and you don't know do the squat about their business and how they have things set up. That doesn't make sense. So I guess when people are comfortable, they're in a new car, they're in a nice home, they're getting what they want. I guess they don't care what their husband does. I mean, I've seen women whose husband cheated on them, had 3 or 4 other women. They said, well, I'm living good. I don't have to worry about nothing. I'm getting what I get. I go to the beauty shop every week, me and the girls playing cards. So, you know, some people live that lifestyle. So to each his own. Let's take this caller. Right. Caller, go ahead. Caller.
Is that me?
Yes, it is.
That's you.
Well, hi. This is Barbara Gates calling in.
Okay.
Hi, Barbara.
Good morning, Dr. Rosie. How are you? Excellent conversation. Blended families are the most difficult way to finish up your assets because 2 things happen. We have 3 children. 2 are his, 1 is mine. In his eyesight, that's 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. In my eyesight, it's 50-50, half mine, half his. So that's an argument that you need to have internally before you go to the division of assets, because obviously all children are entitled to their parents' resources, but everybody's not going to handle appropriate business. So I totally agree with you. A trust is the only way to do it, to put the people in charge that will protect your legacy that you've been building all along and not pass it on to somebody else who will have the stick in the front yard before you get to the graveyard.
Oh, yes,
absolutely. Absolutely. And Barbara, while we stay on the phone, because while we're talking about that, just hold your point, because I'm going to come back to that, because we see that all the time. You know, it's like the person is afraid to set up their plan because they don't want the kid mad. They don't want the wife mad. Some people say to me, well, I don't want to do it this way because Susan may get mad. I said, she can't dig you up and do nothing to you. You dead. Why are you worried about what she think? You gone. You know? So it's important, you all. I have cases where men and, women been living together, Keith, for like 40 years.
Right.
Where the woman owned the house when she got married. Mm-hmm. She never put his name on it, and they never got married. Because, see, California is not a common law state, so you all can sit there and shack all you want to, but you ain't get nothing out of the court. Talking about, I bought the furniture, and I helped pay the note. That's you. I guess you were paying rent.
Take the furniture with you.
Yeah. Anyway, when this woman died, he thought he had a good relationship, you guys. Good relationship with
He probably did.
He said, we had a good relationship. When she died, they wanted him to get up out of that house. And he overheard one saying to the other, I never did like it.
Okay.
Wow. But how you going to stay with somebody 40 years and don't put stuff together? You know you're not married. You're in not a common law state. I mean, why don't people have these conversations? These things should not happen, but I've seen it happen over and over. Had one family it happened to, and the daughter wanted to put the man, she wanted to rent 2 of the bedrooms out. You can stay here, but we're going to rent the other rooms out, and we're going to rent the garage. Folks, it is some awful thing can happen when you don't put your house in order. So, speaking of that, we also have, I promised you that I would talk about a barrier assistance plan. Now, why am I talking about that? Because I'm tired of these chicken dinners and GoFundMe. I ain't buying no more chicken to help bury nobody. I ain't getting no more GoFundMe. I'm sick and tired of it. Now, you guys know, everybody know they're going to die, so you need to just make a plan. You need to make a plan. So, Keith, we were introduced to a program. I was really excited about it. It's a burial, a funeral, a burial system program. What they do not pay for crypt. They do not pay for the grave, but they pay for everything else. And you can have, listen to this, Shawana, you're going to like this. You can have 7 people in this plan for $500 a year.
Wow.
7 people. They don't have to be your family members, Keith. Okay? But here's what it covers. It will cover cremation.
Okay.
It will cover a casket. It will cover your casket for viewing if you're going to have cremation. It'll cover the funeral home, you know, because most people now when they're buried, they don't move that body to the church. And I was wondering why they don't have the body at the church. They went to, then I found out you pay $1,000 or more to move that body from that mortuary to the church.
Wow.
Okay. It depends on how large that service is. You may have to have 4 security. You know, those guys on the motorcycle. So you may be out another $2,000 or $3,000 to get that body from the funeral home. But they would cover the funeral home where they're doing your service, cover the casket for viewing, cover the urn, get you the death certificate. Now, some people, when I talked to them, I was so excited about it, and they would say, yeah, but I don't know about that cremation. I said, do you have any insurance? No. I'm saying, you don't know about cremation. You don't know about anything if you don't have any preparation. But I think the family have to make decisions. Somebody got to be wise. If you don't have the sense enough to make preparation, then I'm going to do what I need to do. And I'm doing good if I even cremate you.
Dr. Rosie, let me just jump in there with you and share this. Let me just share this with you. I did a study. The average cost of a gravesite burial, the hole itself, opening and closing, is upwards of $8,000.
Wow.
That's right now. And so if you don't already have it, you're going to start with $8,000, and you don't have nobody to open it or close it or any of the above yet. So service that you're offering is absolutely an incredible, necessary thing for our community, because I see so many grandmothers pulling out that credit card trying to bury JoJo in bus stop because their mama didn't handle their business. And now she's lassoed with some debt trying to pay for a funeral for somebody who's gone on to wherever they're going and don't owe nobody nothing, but grandma got that credit card collection bothering her about somebody who's already dead. It's so unreasonable, it's unfair, and it's unnecessary. And I speak to that because that's what I did for my children. I don't want no GoFundMe pages. I don't care what it is. If you got to be buried and it may end up at my doorway, you in this plan. That's it, and that's all.
Well, Barbara, we're talking about a grave. We're talking about the plot. That's $8,000. I understand, and that's not in Inglewood, okay? That's not right around the corner. That's way out.
Oh, no, that's at Roosevelt out there next to the dog cemetery. That's where that is, out there.
Okay. So I know people paying, Keith, $17,000 to $20,000 to bury a loved one.
Wow. Okay.
That's today. That's what they're doing. Now, understand that I haven't verified this, but I understand that there's a very popular cemetery here that you cannot buy a single plot. I guess because people running out of space. So you have to buy a double where you can bury 2. So now that's going to cost you much more. So preparation is so important. And when you're talking to people saying 5 members, will cover for $500, and somebody said, well, I can't afford that. Well, get the people that you're covering. They pay their $75 or whatever. And if one person passed, and Keith, this thing is so cold that if I had my cousin in this plan and this cousin was in Mississippi, they would pay my airline fare to go and bury the person that's in my plan. And you got folks gonna go spend $500 for a damn toy that the kids gonna break.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to set some priorities, folks. We need to start planning. So I just wanted to let you know that these are some things. Let's see if we have a caller. These are some things that's available. The number is 310-928-7733. 310-928-7733. And we're talking about preparation for departing this life. And we're also talking about a burial assistance plan. So, folks, don't be left out in the cold. But I have just made up my mind. I'm not burying anybody else. I've told my family, I'll help you go to college. There's a lot of things that I'll help you do. Because, in fact, I had a niece once, she said to me, she laughed. She said, ain't it? You still have an Android? I looked at her. Then I looked around at home, and I'm telling you, Keith, I'm not lying. They must have had that TV special made. I've never seen a TV that big in my life. It looked like it covered the whole wall.
Mm-hmm.
And I bet they had insurance on that TV. They had insurance on that iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
And no coverage, no insurance. I don't care how young the child is now. We used to think about, well, when you're older, you need some insurance, you need some protection. But people dying of all ages. It has nothing to do with age. And I don't understand, Keith, how anybody who has a male child in the city of Los Angeles that's unprotected. I don't understand. So tell me, what's your thoughts about that?
Yeah, we are.
I think they should pass a law to fine parents who don't do this.
Well, you are mayor of South Central, so they may just be a law in a couple of years. Well, yeah, especially if you live in a big city, you got to prepare for it. Especially if you're black, you got a black male, because you can just be sitting in a car with one of your friends, and I've been to too many funerals like that,
right,
where that's happened. And the kid was good. It's just his friend had just done something, and people were looking for him. You just happened to be in the way.
Wow.
So that can happen. Yeah, I agree with you.
That's why I think churches and organizations should have these conversations. Because I think some people it's just not on their mind. So I think it needs to be put on their mind that you need to take care of your business. Because that money you go out and spend now on emotion for that funeral service.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a child ready to go to college next year, and you can't help him because you just buried somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Look at all the other things that you could do. Keith, that's a down payment on a house. Did you just hear what I said? $18,000 for a funeral?
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a down payment on some property that you could have helped that child or somebody else in the family buy a piece of property.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Okay. Wow. So, folks, planning is so important. Now, the other thing we talk about when you have children by, prior marriages, I'm telling you, that is something to untangle, but it can be so smooth. It can be as smooth as silk, folks, if you put things in order. It does not have to be that way. Now, if you want to spend as much of your assets as you can before you go, but you don't want to end up penniless, then you need to make some plans. Now, look at that. Check that one out. Shawan, I thought you would enjoy this one. If you want to spend as much of your assets as you can, but you don't want to end up penniless, then you need to be making some plans. Because that's what happens with older people. They say we get stingy. It's like they always think, will I outlive my money? There's a lot of people not sure whether they can outlive their money or not. There are a few people don't have that problem, but 95%. I would say, would you say about 95, Keith?
Yeah. About that.
Yeah, do have to be concerned. Because people are living longer, Will I outlive?
And with inflation,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Will I outlive what I have? So you can't just go out, I'm just going to live it up. I ain't leaving nobody nothing. Let them fare for themselves. I'm going to kick back, and I'm going to have myself a good time. And then you wind up living longer than you thought.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And they going to say, I ain't helping him. Look what all that money he had.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, we better think about how we're going to put this in place. Okay?
Yeah.
So those are some things that you really have to think about. So you want to get your documents in order. Name all of your assets. Decide your wishes. You know, do you want to be in hospice? Do you want to be on life support? Families should never have to make that decision. You should do it for yourself. And the most critical thing, if you have children, and let me mention, if you have family members that owe you money, you might just want to put in your will that either I want my money, give it to my family.
I want my money, honey, even if I'm dead.
Yeah, I want my money. I want you to
They were like, oh, my God, I'm so glad she died. I don't have to pay her. Nope.
Yeah, they think that's free.
It's in the trust.
Pay me my money because it's going to be in my will who I want to get it.
Yeah, with the proof. Proof of payment.
Absolutely.
I think we should do a forgiveness in my will.
Oh, so you're gonna forgive them. And yeah, it talks about that too. You might say, Betty Sue owe me $5,000, but I want the debt to be forgiven. You can say in your will who you want them to pay. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yes.
She ain't gonna pay you no way, so you might as well forgive me.
Barb, you said they're not gonna pay you anyway.
You're in debt officially, remember?
Yeah, I guess
normally when you loan that money, you loan what you know you can lose.
That's a good way to put it. I guess, you know, some people, you better forgive them because, you know, they say if you don't forgive, you can't get to heaven. So y'all better put in your will to forgive them of their debt.
Right.
Now, here's another thing. We're talking about planning. This is really key. There are times when people don't want their kids or they don't want their wife to have anything. Now, you guys would not believe this. You guys will not believe this, but it's true. I've had someone to come and say to me, I don't want to leave my wife anything. She can stay in the house, but I'm leaving it to somebody else. Now, you can't start judging people, but I'm just saying, folks, when you're in these relationships, you better look at what's going on. You'd be surprised that you may be disinherited. Now, if you're the wife or the husband in the state of California, some states, you can disinherit your wife and your children. In the state of California, you can't disinherit your wife, but you can disinherit your children. You have to name her. I don't want Keith to have nothing. I intentionally and purposely did not leave him anything in my trust. Some people say, well, I have to leave him $1. You don't have to leave him anything. But you have to put that statement that you intentionally and purposely omitted to provide for that person. So that's why, again.
I have a question for that, Dr. Rosie.
Okay. But you can't for that
because I know someone that's happening too. I know that's something that's happening. They gave the wife like 1 or 2 properties in their trust, and the wife didn't know, and all the other properties went to the son that they didn't have together. And all the properties went to the son. Is that okay? I mean,
yeah. They may have talked about that. Sometimes people, they come to say, I'm gonna leave my wife, the house. She has the money, but I'm leaving my son because your son may have more need, could be much younger. The family could be older, and the wife have everything that she needs. Could be someone who never worked, been taken care of all her life, so she's happy with him leaving her the house that they were living in. But the sad part about it, if you live with someone and you don't know that they're doing that, because there are people who come and get a married, filing separate trust, and they don't have to share anything with their wife. They can do that. So that's why people need to talk about how they're going to do this thing. Because, I've had people, they come to get their trust done, and You almost think you're going to have to call the police because they're about to get in a fight while they discussing. And you guys should discuss this before you got here. Y'all go back home. Go back home and you guys cool down and try to figure out how you want me to do this. Y'all ain't going to tear my office fighting up in here, okay?
Stop talking about me, Dr. Rosie. I know who you're talking about. I know exactly who you're talking about. We had that discussion. And I said, we're going to table this. In the instance of dignity, we're going to table this and come back another day.
Barbara, I have so many people that I have to have them to tape us. You guys, y'all need to go back to the drawing board so we can make some sense out of this. And it's because they have not discussed it too much before they came to me, and they get here and they realize, well, wait a minute. So then you have to put on brakes, and it's really okay, but it's good when people are thinking about it. Now, the most critical thing when we start talking about planning, think about it, is your children. Your minor children. They're left out in the cold because someone would say, well, you know what? If something happened to me, I done already told my dear that I want her to keep Shakita. Folks, it don't happen like that. The biological parent has a right to that child. Mm-hmm. Unless it's been established in court that that person is not fit or have abandoned that child. And then the court will make that decision. And the court will decide on the child's best interest. Not because you don't like the dad because he left you and married somebody else and he's over there taking care of their kids and not doing much for yours. The court is going to look at what is the best interest for the child. But what I want you to know, that if you decide, they should want you decide, well, you know what? I know I can't keep the child from going to the father. So he's going to automatically be the guardian over the person. But my mother is going to be guardian over the real estate that I'm leaving and the money in the bank and the money for my insurance. Where do you think that child's going to end up at?
With grandma.
You better know it. You better know it. You can decide who is guardian over the property, but you cannot make that decision over who's going to be over the person.
Right.
You know, if they qualify to have that child. So that's really important. My sister, she was an attorney. We wrote this book together called Departing This Life Preparation. And she had a scenario in here where this woman left she didn't have a will. She didn't have a trust. The man had not been really in the child's life, but when she wanted the mother to do everything, but she did not put it in writing. So when she died, guess what happened? The husband moved into her house to continue to raise the child.
Okay.
Spent the money on himself.
Okay.
Not only did he have her money that she left, he got over the Social Security money, because you know when you die and you have minor children, they can draw your Social Security, right? So he was living big because she was involved in an accident on her way from home from work one day, but she did not have things in order. Folks, I'm telling you, you buy those kids Nintendo, you buy them all that different stuff, but you won't look out for them in case you're not here. So it's so important. It's so important to do this preparation. And it's not in cement. Like when we do trust, it's revocable trust. I mean, you can change. You can put somebody in, take somebody out. Because it's not in cement. Because sometimes the person that you put over your child or who you put over your estate, they were good when you did it. But people change. Situation changes. So when that happens, all you do is make change. You always want to make sure you have the best person in place. You may have a husband or wife that was your power of attorney. Okay? But when that person becomes over your child, that person could have dementia. And when that person develops dementia, you can't have that person making your medical decision anymore. So you'll make a change. I think we have a caller. Go ahead, caller.
It's me, Catherine G., Dr. Rosie.
Okay, you had a comment, Catherine G.?
Yes, in reference to the cremation, we're talking about the burials and everything, but no one mentioned anything about what you do with the urn that has the ashes in it and the cost of burying it or adding it to someone else's grave.
Well, if the person want to keep the... Oh, Catherine, is your computer, your mic on?
Yeah.
Can you turn your speaker on?
Yeah, you turn your speakers down.
Turn your speaker down. Well, the family, sometimes the family have a fight over that. Who's going to get the ashes? One time the people, they got to fighting and the ashes end up on the floor, So all of this, you should decide, Catherine, if you're going to be cremated, you make that decision. You need to put in your plan who you want to have the ashes. I mean, down to that, I'm telling down to the nitty gritty. You need to say that. So usually what the mortuary would do, they have you to pay for the urn. If you're going to divide it among 2 or 3 people, it's okay with them. You just need to buy the urn. And I would say it's better to buy it. You can go to Amazon and different places because if you get it at the funeral home, you're going to pay much more for it. Did that answer your question, Catherine?
Yes, it does, even though I am familiar with it because when my uncle passed away back in North Carolina, his niece sent his ashes to me.
Did you ask her to?
No, but anyway, I handled the situation because...
Why are you laughing, Shawaz?
What I did is
that's somebody else.
Okay.
I had my cousin bury his ashes with his mother.
Okay.
With my grandmother at the church grounds. So it got taken care of. But it's like I'm one of the people that I know names. They know names, but they don't know me. But they know if it's something that's going to get taken care of. Okay. So
they know you'll do it. Catherine will do it.
She'll get it taken care of.
Yeah, you're that kind of person. But, let's talk about this. I think people make too much to do out of a dead person. I know I'm going to get some calls. People going to call me talking all crazy about it. I know they're going to call me. You just callous. What kind of person are you, People make too much to do over dead people. You need to make that to do over people who are living.
They're true. Well, even with my mother, I had my mother buried with my stepfather at his gravesite, and his nephew met me, and we took the ashes and got it taken care of.
Well, my money's not going in no hole. That's all I'm going to say. My money ain't going in no hole. I'm sorry. Yeah. Y'all can do what you want. My money will not go in a hole. Okay? So, Keith, you laugh, but what you going to do? You going to spend a whole lot of money on dead people or not?
No.
Not me.
I can see, Keith. Didn't we put her what, girl? Oh, we laid her to rest. Honey, they sure put their mama away, and their mama couldn't buy her medicine before she died, and nobody came over there and helped her.
No, she took care of that years ago. She's like you. She's from the old school. Old country folks, man. They knew that at some point they were going to die because your life wasn't promised. When you're down south, you can never tell. So, folks
they didn't want their kids to have to do that.
Yeah,
they took pride. I don't want that burden to be on my kids, so I got my little policy.
Yeah, they do. They always had. Yeah, my mother's had hers for years.
But nowadays, you got a new breed. They don't care who it's on.
We don't think we're going to die.
That's what it is.
Well, we know we are. We just don't know when.
We always got time.
So that's what should make you do it, Catherine, because you don't know when. To me, that is what should make a person do their preparation because they don't know when.
Right.
Dr. Rosie,
I beat myself with wet noodles because I had to put my affairs in order too. So anyway.
Well, that's why we're talking about it. But
Right.
Catherine, that's why we're talking about it, hoping that we will motivate and stimulate people who have not done that to do it.
Right.
That's why we're having this show. This is why we're
I
doing
know.
it. In fact, it's going to
important.
re-air. Let me tell you what time it's going to re-air tonight. The engineer is going to let me know. Because I think you need to get your family and friends, you guys, you need to tell everybody this is a show that they need to listen to and they need to take heed. Shawana, you were going to say something.
No, it was Barbara. It was a true story. My mother-in-law had a burial card that she had. She says, when I die, just take this card and take. Took me 5 years to get her to let me see that card. And I finally looked at it, and it was a policy that she bought from Golden State Mutual back in the 50s. And it said, she said, I'm going to be buried in Alabama, and I got this all taken care of. I looked at the card, face value, 30 years later, right? $1,850. Beneficiary, Angela's Funeral Home. Okay, I said, you not only ain't going to Alabama, you ain't going to Crenshaw with $1,800. This is all.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay, but here again, being aggressive enough to look into it. A lot of old people tell you my business is in order, but they put it in order at the payment in 1957 that's not going to handle today's marketplace cost. We really need to have a look and relook at it. My husband, fast forward, has a life insurance that his grandma bought him at 77. When we were in Alabama, we checked the face value. It's $350. I called over there and said, what's the cash value? $350. What's the burial value? $350. I said, get the check ready. We going to dinner. He ain't dead yet, so we going to spend the money. That's what we need.
That's as far as it's going to go. You're right.
You have a good point. People have these outdated policies, something they got, but they'll tell you, I got to cover everything. They haven't paid for the opening and closing. And sometimes all they paid for, you guys, was a plot or a crypt. They didn't even pay for the casket. Mm-hmm. They don't know what they're talking about, so you need to ask them, let you see it. I think something's on the board, Keith. What does it say?
Oh, this is from the from Dr. J. He says, they can throw my corpse in the sea late at night and keep that money for the living. I'm good with it.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. Wow. Well, I'm telling you, I still say people making too much to do for the dead. They really do. Mm-hmm. You know, put in all this a suit on the person. Cost more. Man ain't never wore a suit in his life.
Yeah. Unless you buried in New Orleans, and they do it right, though.
Oh, they gonna have the umbrellas and the band and all this kind of stuff.
And Georgia too.
But that's so used to be, okay? They ain't doing that now because money ain't flowing like it used to.
Oh, like it used to, okay.
Yeah, and I don't know why they do it in New Orleans. The grave subject come up on top of the ground in the first place. You know, I don't know why they making such a to-do. But folks, get your house in order so your people don't be fighting. And if you have children by previous marriage, folks, I can't tell you what's going to happen. You're going to have a problem. I've seen them even want to have 2 different funerals. I've seen them have 2 different repasts. Now, folks, you know that's something, isn't it? This side having a repast over here and this one having a repast over here. I went to one that I did the eulogy for. They had 2 obituaries, Keith.
Ooh, obituary, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, have you ever heard of anything like that?
That is petty.
And both of them brought a videotape. Both of them brought a videotape to be shown. And the Martins said, we're not going to show both of these. So then they had to come to the conclusion, well, we need to show the one of the wife. Because she's the wife, not the family. Because the family didn't like the wife. I mean, it was the biggest mess. And they got into a fight at that funeral. But you know how the mortician broke it up?
Tell me.
He said, I tell you what, y'all need to clear out of here. Because if you got any warrants, you better leave them, call the police. Then he ended it right there. They got up out of there. I said, wow, that many people got a warrant up in here?
They knew they were going to get in more trouble.
You guys, make preparation. you're going to leave here whether you want to or not. We don't know how. We don't know when. But don't do this to your family. Somebody putting $8,000 on a credit card to bury you, and then they got to pay that credit card off with interest. That doesn't make sense. So start asking your family. I mean, I would say to parents and grandparents, get a policy on your son or daughter or grandchildren. When you know the mother is not responsible, they're young, get a policy. And then, every time you can catch her, ask them to give you some money on it. And guess what? Most time they will. So now you need to these policies, $50 or $100 a month. I need you to help. You'd be surprised at your kid who will help pay. They just not going to do it themselves. They don't have the initiative to do it. So 1 month they may say, well, Mama, I don't have it this month. Then go ahead and pay it. I'd rather pay it than have to pay for the whole funeral cost. But don't forget, we do know of a program, a burial funeral assistance program. $500 for 1 year for 7 people. If my daddy said you can't beat it with a stick. You can't beat it with a stick. So, Keith, Shawana, you guys want to have a closing word?
There's an old saying, I can't remember what movie it was from. It says, the line was, take care of business or the business will take care of you.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. That is so true.
That is true. And I just want to say, Dr. Rosie, you need to give your number for that $500 plan, because there's a lot of people that probably will want to benefit from that plan and know about it. So they should be contacting Dr. Rosie as soon as possible, because the sooner the better.
That's exactly true. That number is 323-750-3592. 323-750-3592. And I suggest that you make that as a Christmas gift this year to all of those who are sitting out there who are not insured. And some people just want to get insurance, Keith, but they are uninsurable. So this plan works good for them. Okay? So, again, you can call me at 323-750-3592. And don't be sending me your little crazy email because I said people make too much to do over the dead. I repeat it. I still say it. I say it again. And you can't do nothing about it. I ain't scared of you.
It's only Dr. Rosie, it's only their conscience that are bothering them to make them feel important.
Wow. Somebody said the sea is free. Put my ashes in a pickup truck and take a drive out to
Zuma Beach.
Yuma Beach. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, folks, at 6 p.m., this show is going to be rebroadcast. Get people on the line so they can start thinking about taking care of their business. You guys, Barbara, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
Catherine, the Amen Corner. I call Catherine the Amen Corner. So you guys go on your way and have a great day. And if you have not made preparation, folks, today is the day to begin. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
You too. Stay safe.